Hey everybody, I'm Jason. Welcome back to Drinking and Gaming. Today we're going to be pairing beer with the only game that I have been playing for the last month. And I promise, this is the last time that I will mention Destiny. However, today's beer is going to go well with any time and energy intensive online game or MMO. Today we are drinking the black stuff, Guinness Draft. Guinness is a stout or a strong dark beer made with roasted barley. There is some disagreement on the differences between a stout and a porter. Guinness claims that stout is simply a stronger version of a porter, which was a beer that was already popular when they came into existence. And in some regions there are specific differences between stout and porter, but largely the terms are used loosely and they are interchangeable. Guinness Draft is known for this iconic creamy white head that it has at the top. And it gets this by being dispensed with nitro gas through a special faucet. It's a common misconception that nitrogen makes these smaller bubbles and the thicker head on the beer, but actually nitrogen is mostly inert in liquid, and beer gas is actually a blend of nitrogen and carbon dioxide. The bubbles in Guinness still come from CO2, just like any other beer, but the nitrogen is added so that it can be dispensed at up to 4 times the pressure of your normal beer. The special tap handle that bars have at Guinness does 2 things. First, it creates a harder seal, which can hold back about 50 pounds per square inch, which is kept in the beer line. And then second, the black tip that's at the bottom has a screen in it with 5 tiny pinholes through which the beer is forced at a high velocity. Now these pinholes are actually smaller than a standard beer bubble, and when the beer gets pushed through these holes, you end up with them splitting into the smaller bubbles that when they rise to the top give you this creamy head at the top of your glass. However, the number of people other than me who have both a home nitrogen tap and a copy of Destiny is probably incredibly small. So you're going to be wanting the Guinness Draft cans, which give you the same effect. Now these cans contain a widget. It's this tiny plastic ball, and it has a very small hole in it. This is placed inside the can during bottling, and then when they seal it and add nitrogen and CO2, the pressure change inside the can forces beer into that tiny hole. Then when you open it, you return the pressure in the can to the normal pressure of a room, and the beer shoots out that hole and does essentially the same thing that the beer faucet's restrictor plate does. If you then immediately pour the beer into a pint glass at a 45-degree angle and allow it to settle, you get the same glass of beer that you would get in a bar, and you're ready to thrash on some Fallen. A couple of small misconceptions about Guinness. One, it is not different in Ireland. This is something that I've heard a lot of people say. And once upon a time, shipping and ingredient constraints in different regions led to certain differences in the beer. But today, it's the exact same beer from the exact same Dublin brewery, served from the same equipment everywhere in the world, with the sole exception of Nigeria, whose government insists that they add sorghum to it. The second misconception is that Guinness is not a meal in a glass. Once you get past the thick, creamy foam, it isn't nearly as dense as people think. In fact, Guinness contains less calorie than Budweiser, Coors, or Corona. And number 3, it is not served at room temperature in Ireland and Europe, which is another myth. At the Guinness brewery, they serve it at around 42 degrees Fahrenheit. And while many cask beers and traditional English ales are designed to be served and drank at cellar temperature, even that is only in the low 50s. You see, carbon dioxide escapes beer faster the warmer it is. So trying to pour beer out of a warm keg will get you nothing but a glass of foam and a mess. That said, Guinness is still great at any temperature. And that is the first reason that we are pairing Guinness with Destiny. When playing with other people, you often do not have time to put down the controller and pick up your glass and take a sip for 20, 30, 40 minutes at a time. Now if your Guinness sits and warms up a bit, it's still going to taste just fine as a reward for taking down the big boss. The second reason that we're pairing Guinness with Destiny is the relatively lower alcohol content. Guinness has 4.2% alcohol by volume, and when you're in a PvP match, or an especially hard weekly strike, or a big raid, and other people are counting on you to hold your own, you can't go getting sloppy. You need quick reflexes and sharp wits. And Guinness actually has less alcohol than PBR. It's also a sip and savor beer rather than something that you're going to be pounding. And remember, our rule with drinking and gaming is the harder the game is, the weaker your beer should be. Unless, of course, you're playing against me in a PvP match, in which case I strongly suggest many shots of tequila so that I can do okay. And of course, our third reason for pairing Guinness with Destiny is that everyone is a better dancer when they've had a couple of beers. Destiny has more celebratory dance-offs than DDR. So have a pint, get your groove on, and let the fallen know that they just got served. Anyway, that's your combination for this week. I'm Jason, and this has been Drinking and Gaming. Cheers!